Greetings, change makers and movement builders. We cannot thank you enough for your time today. I'm Kat Murphy-Toms. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Digital Communications here on the Giving Tuesday team. We are so unbelievably thrilled to be partnering with Candid today for this webinar, and we're going to talk about how to get ready for Giving Tuesday. Our agenda for today is as follows. I am going to hand over to my colleague Celeste. She and I are going to share some of our favorite strategies and tactics for using Giving Tuesday to rally a groundswell of energy, not just rallying funds for your cause, but how can you use Giving Tuesday to rally people who are going to walk hand in hand with you to help you achieve your mission. Then I'm going to invite Dorothy from Candid up to the stage to talk about how to get your GuideStar profile up to date. And she's got a really incredible announcement that I'm really excited about, and I hope you all are ready for this information. All right, gang, with that, I'm going to bring my colleague, Celeste Flores, up to the stage with me. She is the Director of Communities on the Giving Tuesday team. I have the honor of having worked with her for several years now. Celeste, come on up to the stage. Let's talk about all things Giving Tuesday.
Well, now that I'm on the stage, thank you, Kat, for that lovely introduction. So grateful for this time, so grateful to Candid, so grateful to you. You are on the ground doing the work, and we are so grateful to have this time with you. I'm going to go through a little bit about Giving Tuesday, but take you back a little to then go forward. Giving Tuesday, if you ask 5 different people, you probably get 5 different answers of what they think the day is about. But the day's created 10 years ago, which is very exciting. This is 10 years of Giving Tuesday. And it really simply was created as a day to do good, encourage people a day to do good. Over the 10 years, though, it's grown into a movement, and it is a global one at that. 85 countries, we have millions of people engaging, but it is a year-round global movement that inspires millions of people to give, collaborate, celebrate all the types of generosity. And this goes to our mission. Our mission is not necessarily to create the world's record for crowdfunding days or fundraising days. While important, and it is a great fundraising day, it really is about changing behaviors. And it is really about creating generosity in your communities in a way that it becomes a tool that we use to grow a more just and equitable world that we all seek to live in. Can you imagine what it would be what kind of the world it would be if we built together a world that was completely centered around generosity in a way that we go about our daily lives? It is a lifestyle. It is part of who we are. And that's really the point here, is about changing behaviors and increasing generosity, but really about operating from a place of generosity and the change that we seek in the world. The movement has grown a bit, quite a bit in 10 years. And so I wanted to show you a little bit about how this movement moves and how your place in it. There's a lot of people who participate in this day, who participate in this season. So people are celebrating it for a whole entire month, but really it is about these groupings, if you will, of people who are making this movement move. It's a day that's available to everyone, and because we believe everyone has something to give and everyone has the ability to receive generosity. It's really laying the playing field, and it is a day that anyone can engage. But the day is organized in some ways geographically. We have, like I said, 85 countries that celebrate Giving Tuesday in a way that's meaningful culturally for that country. And then we get into the communities within that country, whether it's a city, town, or state, or a group of local hairdressers. It is a communities of all shapes and sizes and types that come together and do something meaningful through that generous spirit for their communities. We have groups that come together also by causes, that several organizations, multiple organizations, a whole network of organizations coming together for this day to raise awareness about a particular cause. And then there's individual organizations like yourself who are, or many on the call, who are actually creating something special for your organization so people can engage in. And it comes down to that caring individual, the caring individuals, families, kids who are doing something good on this day. So while the notion of philanthropy and the word philanthropist seems so big, we all have the ability to be philanthropists. And individuals are doing that this day on a way that's meaningful to them. And this last picture at the end is a woman who has an amazing, easy poster board that you could read that she got it right from the very first Giving Tuesday, is that she's not famous or a millionaire, but she can make change in her community on Giving Tuesday. So that's how this has grown, or how we've seen it grown over the years. And while yes, the day continues to grow in financial support, in fundraising, year over year, individuals all over the US continue to contribute, or all over the world, but this graph specifically talks about the United States, about how much giving has happened, monetary giving has happened during Giving Tuesday. Last year, 2.7 billion in just 24 hours in just the US. Millions and millions more all over the world, and millions acts of generosity also happening. So while yes, this is a big fundraising day, it is more than that. It is about people expressing generosity in multiple ways. It is about giving of time, giving of their voice and their platform, giving of a good, and of course, raising money, and lots of money for organizations. But what the data shows us here is that it's not an either or. I know a lot of times when we're creating campaigns, especially for Giving Tuesday, and we think about what is my financial goal? What am I trying to raise? But it really is about, how do we honor all the ways to give? How can I offer an opportunity for someone to engage with me in multiple ways? Because our data shows on Giving Tuesday, people do more than one act of generosity. Actually, individuals giving only money during Giving Tuesday is the least expressed action on Giving Tuesday. So have multiple ways for people to engage with you is really the point here. And this shows the increase in all of those areas that we're able to track. And this day also, why this day? Why any giving day? I know some of you are in communities that stand up other giving days or giving moments, and why these continue to work and why they are continued to be relevant. Giving Tuesday specifically as a giving moment has obviously brought lots of new donors to individual organizations. This chart here is showing you the spike that these giving moments did in a given year. So this is 2020, where we actually stood up 2 Giving Tuesdays. One that normally happens at the end of the year, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. However, the Giving Tuesday now was stood up as a direct response globally for the pandemic. But as you'll see, that these spikes are happening on specific days when people are actually looking to give to new nonprofits. So there's only 3 days a year in any given year that people are looking to support organizations. It's Giving Tuesday, December 30th, December 31st. So what does this mean? What are these giving moments? What's the point, and why they continue to work for people? Well, it's all about collective moments. People like to give with others. It's a sense of urgency. It's a timestamp. It's an immediate call to action. But they ultimately feel like they're a part of creating a systematic change together. And so these giving moments, like Giving Tuesday, are an amazing opportunity to reach new donors or reach small dollar donors. And we don't believe that any gift is too small, but there's an opportunity here to honor a small gift, but other ways that people can give to you. But these people that come to you during Giving Tuesday can become an army for your cause, as long as we are fostering those relationships. So while we don't have a crystal ball, as most people think we do, but we have a lot of data to tell us what does giving look like, and what could giving look like for Giving Tuesday specifically in this given year. Well, we have done lots of surveying, and in the most recent survey, we found these 3 sentiments to be true. That givers are actually relate more to a cause than the organization. People continue to give with their heart rather than their head. Actually, 77% of the people that were recently surveyed, givers, said that they give with their heart rather than their heads. So think about that when you're doing your messaging, when you're creating your campaign, when you're thinking about how you're going to engage people on this special day or season. And obviously, givers need clear calls to action and simple ways to participate. But honoring the multiple ways that they can give, all the assets that they might have in their toolbox, is really something to lean into and to do on Giving Tuesday. Because when we do that, when we are meeting givers where they are in a way that is meaningful to them and giving them several ways to give, we are moving people from a transaction to a transformation. I understand. I've been on every side of the table when it comes to Giving Tuesday. I have been an executive director with an organization, a fundraiser during Giving Tuesday, heading a whole community campaign, now working with Giving Tuesday to really understand how I move people from these giving moments to actual supporters of our mission and our work. And it is about relationships and moving people from that transaction to transformation and moving them along this relationship ladder. Now, I know a lot of us on this call are seasoned development professionals, and this is 101 stuff, but it really is important to understand and to know when you are getting new donors or new engagement during Giving Tuesday, think about what you're going to do with these people and these individuals before Giving Tuesday even starts. What is my plan year round to engage anyone new who comes to us or anyone who gives us a gift during Giving Tuesday? What are we going to do to thank them? Not just the automatic receipt that they might get on your website, but what special can we do? Can we do a thankathon? Can we have our board members thanking our donors right away? There's many ways to do this. We're all professionals, but it is another reminder of when we use these giving moments, they can be instrumental to your organization, but it's not a silver bullet. We do have to do the work afterwards. So what can you do with this information? What does this mean in the next 30 days? What can I do with this background information that you've given me, Celeste? And how can I be impactful in 2022 for Giving Tuesday? These are a few things that I put out here because I get asked all the time, okay, it's 30 days out. What can I do? I work with communities and those are city, town, states. Like I said, some of them are cause-based and some of them are just starting to put their plan together, and that's fine. But this slide to me is like, all right, there's lots of information. There's a lot of ways this thing can go, but what do I do? First, set a goal. A realistic goal, a goal that doesn't have to be just financial. Please think about other goals that you could actually achieve during Giving Tuesday to address other goals within your organization. Is it volunteer hour pledges? Is it goods or services? Is it an experience? And then think about that engagement plan that I just talked about. What do we do with people after Giving Tuesday? We've said it already, multiple ways to express their generosity because again, during Giving Tuesday, usually it's more than one act of generosity that is expressed by people. Also think about your messaging and inspiring messaging. Over the last 2 years, donors, givers, the public have been receiving crisis messaging. And there's an opportunity here to become more hopeful in our messaging and to actually turn the story a little bit. And I know that I did say that these giving moments provide a sense of urgency, but you can be urgent with your ask in a way that is hopeful and that is not in a manner that has been repeated over and over again. I'm not saying that you're not in crisis mode. I'm not saying that you don't need the money and the need is immediate and your community needs this. However, understanding that this messaging has been out there for a really long time and figuring out a way to maybe shift to hopeful messaging, solution-based messaging, that is an opportunity here. So consider what you will do with people year-round basis too. And Giving Tuesday is the start, but think about what kind of content and engagement you want with these individuals year-round. And if you're thinking, all right, I already have my campaign baked, I'm just looking for some last tips here, or I'm starting today on my Giving Tuesday campaign. Here are ways that you can engage your givers. And obviously direct fundraising is something that everyone knows. I've listed here other ways that you could add on. So if you already have a fundraising campaign, totally understand that, but maybe there's an opportunity to do something different or new or in addition during Giving Tuesday that is a low lift for your organization. I'm not telling you to just whip up something totally brand new that is really going to be hard to pull off in 30 days. Start where you are. And is there something else that you can offer as an experience of the work with your donors? Ask your volunteers to tell their giving story on social media and tag you to increase awareness about your issue. Or is there an opportunity to collaborate with a partner and share the work? And I know that collaboration is a word that everyone uses. It's overused in this sector. We say it all the time, but what does this really mean? And it sounds like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be. And so I offer these a few examples of organizations last Giving Tuesday who did collaborate. 2 organizations or more got together and created some sort of experience for people in their community to get engaged with. And you know, there's many ways that this could play out, but for example, I'll talk about the middle flyer that you might see that is got a little green on it. Those are 2 organizations, actually considered competing organizations around food security in a community. These 2 organizations got together and decided that they both needed extra hands for several projects. And so they decided to share volunteers. So they did a joint event together. They asked for volunteers from their respective networks. They brought together volunteers to do one activity of building garden beds at one location, and then in the afternoon they went to make some repairs in a schoolhouse. And this was a way for them to then convene and break bread together and talk about the missions and the work of the 2 organizations. Several organizations on this slide raised money for a different sister organization, specifically the St. Jerome renovation of their gym was actually funded by another Catholic school raising money for this gym. And it really is an opportunity. I'm not saying you have to do that, but is there other groups in your sphere that might want to come together? And I'll offer the last one in the top right corner. There are 3 organizations that were in Seattle that do different things, but some similar work. They came together and had one event where they had donations of coats, hats, scarves from local small businesses, put it all together in one location. These 3 organizations worked together with their respective networks and distributed the items together in one event, but people were exposed to 3 missions at that time. So these are just a little flavor of ways that you might think outside the box a little bit. And I hate that term, outside the box, but thinking of something new for this Giving Tuesday. And I hope that this information and these examples at least just provided inspiration, if not for this year, for next year, or for creating or adding on to your Giving Tuesday effort. So now I'm going to hand things over to Kat, who's going to get a little more tactical about building a great campaign.
No matter what you decide that your campaign goal might be, you are going to need a compelling story to help pull people in, right? You want to make people see themselves and then make them see themselves as part of the solution to the problem that you're solving. So create an iconic story for your campaign, make it memorable, and then repeat that story in the weeks leading up to Giving Tuesday. You are going to be sick of it, but your supporters, your community, are going to love it. They're not going to hear it until the 10th time that they've heard it. So don't be shy about repeating your impact story. Simply telling your audience that they should give because it's Giving Tuesday or because they'll get a tax break isn't good enough, right? To be successful on a day like Giving Tuesday, you have to translate your passion into a powerful story and tell it in such a way that it generates contagious energy. You want your audience member to reflect on your Instagram post or on your tweet long after they leave their computer or after they put their phone down, and we want them to be compelled to share it, right? You are going to have a lot of new folks looking at your social media pages on Giving Tuesday, okay? So I want you to take a couple moments today, this week, to make sure that all your social media pages are optimized. Promise me you're going to do it. Make sure that everything's consistent. The language that you use in your bio is the same language that you use on your website. Make sure that you post a few highlight stories to your Instagram page that'll showcase what your organization does, what its impacted it, the impact that you provide, and then give folks some ideas for ways that they can come along with you in your mission. Stuff your pages over the next few weeks, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, with posts that are going to allow somebody who is brand new to your mission to immediately understand what it is that you do and the impact of what happens when they get involved with your cause. This is by far our most frequently asked question, so I'm going to address it. How do I reach new donors? There's two ways. The first is by experimenting with the tools that you have available to you. Instagram just launched a new type of post. It's called the collaboration post, or collab for short. You effectively collaborate with another account on one post that ends up cross-posting to both of those channels. So you can reach a large swath of audience that you might not otherwise have access to. So think about people in your community, small businesses, vendors of yours, board members who micro influencers in your community who might be willing to loan you their platform to talk about your mission and help mobilize their followers for your cause. Instagram Live is amazing. You can have up to 4 guests, and just like collab posts, those cross post to everybody's account. So it helps amplify your mission. Even more so if you can round up folks who have large followings. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Reels and TikTok. Instagram Reels and TikTok are the only 2 platforms that are specifically designed to show your posts to people who do not follow you. So think about experimenting with this kind of content on Giving Tuesday. Like I said, there's 2 ways to reach new donors. The second way is to deploy your existing donors to speak on your behalf and share their story about why it is that they're involved in your mission and why it matters to them with their followers and friends. As you know, social proof is extremely powerful. If I see a friend of mine who's really excited and passionate about a certain cause or an organization, that's going to inspire me to activate much more than a piece of content from an organization directly. So think about things that you can be doing and start working on this now. Who from my audience can I mobilize to help me tell my story? Encourage your followers and your supporters to make a video about why it is that their cause matters to you, why they got involved. Post an image of them volunteering and tell a personal story about why their mission matters to you, and then ask them to post that on their social media pages. You can share that to your social media page, but it's more powerful if they post it to their own page. If you haven't thought about implementing a peer-to-peer strategy for Giving Tuesday, I highly recommend it. That's those birthday fundraisers that you see throughout the year. Someone will say, it's my birthday, I want to raise $500 for this organization. You'll start working on that now, soliciting volunteers and ambassadors for your cause to run peer-to-peer campaigns for you. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to be successful with those campaigns. So you're going to want to give them a toolkit with copy-pastable text messages and copy-pastable emails that they can send to their friends and family to help you get word out about your mission. Anybody want to guess what the #1 digital tactic is on a day like Giving Tuesday? Pop it in the chat if you know it. If you've heard me speak before, you already know the answer. #1 digital tactic on a day like Giving Tuesday. It is the calendar invitation, the humble calendar invitation. I don't know about you, but if I'm not getting a notification on my watch about where I need to be, it's not happening. Treat your donors the same way. Put a calendar invitation on their calendar for Giving Tuesday, literally. You want to, if your campaign goal is to rally more dollars for your cause, make sure your mobile friendly donation link is inside that calendar invitation. If you have another goal for your Giving Tuesday campaign, make sure the instructions for how to participate are very explicit in the body of that email. If you're asking your board members to send an email to their friends and family in their networks, put the copy pastable email inside that calendar invitation to remind them to do it. It's a really great tactic. I think it's underutilized. If it's one thing that you do this year, promise me that you're going to get Giving Tuesday on everybody's Apple Watch this year, okay? Don't snooze on email. I have had too many heartbreaks of nonprofits tell me last year that they didn't send one email. We know that email is the #1 converting mechanism to donation, even beyond social media, beyond advertising, beyond almost anything else you might do. The people who are subscribed to your email list are hyper bought into your mission, right? They know who you are. They are ready to activate. All you need to do is ask. You still want to make sure that you're targeting and using your segments and using your personalization tactics as much as conceivably possible. You don't want to send a potentially $500 donor at a call to action to give $5. You don't want to be, there might be something different that you want to be asking your ambassadors to do. Make sure you segment your emails. Okay, friends, that was a lot. We've given you so much information. Let's break it down to your key steps for building a successful campaign in these next 35 days. Step 1 is to plan. Pick one clear goal for your campaign. Step 2 is to design. Figure out who it is from your audience that you're going to deploy to help you achieve your goal. If your goal is to reach a certain number of new donors, perhaps you're going to use peer-to-peer. Perhaps you're going to experiment with TikTok to reach new people. Design a compelling story-based campaign that's going to get folks fired up and ready to join your movement, okay? Step 3 is to launch. Get that campaign on your folks' calendar, start sending those emails, save the dates, and start planting the seed that Giving Tuesday is coming, and remind folks consistently. That's step 4. Use multiple touch points across every channel that you have access to, including offline channels. Focus on both the story that you're telling, but also mobilizing your biggest supporters to tell their version of your story too. So speaking of using all the touch points that are available to you, I'd like to bring my dear colleague, Dorothy, up to the stage. Dorothy is at Candid. Did you know that GuideStar.org, their top web traffic all year long is on Giving Tuesday? I didn't know until recently. These are people who are looking for nonprofits to give to. They're going to GuideStar.org. They're looking at Candid to find you. So let's hear from Dorothy. She is the Growth Marketing Director at Candid, and I'd like to invite her up to the stage to tell us a little bit more about how you can use Candid to achieve success on a day like Giving Tuesday. Hey, Dorothy.
Hi, Kat. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Celeste. It's great to be part of this webinar. I'm Dorothy Ho, the Marketing Director here at Candid. My pronouns are she, her. Some of you may know and some may not. A few years ago, Candid, GuideStar and Foundation Center came together and we are now Candid. Today, I'll be taking you through how you can leverage Candid's nonprofit profile and seals of transparency to help you achieve your fundraising goals. This simple tool is free, and Candid has a support team you can leverage if you need help with your seal. Also, I have some exciting news hot off the press I will reveal later at the end of my presentation. How to use your Candid profile to tell your story and build trust. What is a Candid profile? Each year, Candid's GuideStar has millions of visitors. Funders and donors come to our site to research and validate nonprofits. The information on your profile shares your impact and builds trust. Candid nonprofit profiles go beyond IRS data. Profiles provide nonprofits with an opportunity to create a fuller, publicly available picture of your nonprofit. It goes beyond what your 990 provides. Your profile gives donors the information they are looking for. And this information also powers giving platforms like Amazon Smile, Facebook, and donor advised funds. Keeping your profile up to date will ensure the most accurate information is sent over. Earning a seal of transparency each year is free for any US 501c nonprofit. You can get to bronze in 5 minutes, which I'll take you through in a few slides. As you earn seals, the information you provide enriches your profile and gives donors even more insights into the impact of your organization. There are 4 seal levels in total. Bronze. Bronze will help donors find you. And to get to bronze, you simply have to share basic information such as your mission and contact information. Silver. This level starts helping guide funding decisions. To get to silver, you provide program information and brand details. Gold. This is where you start to gain trust and support from your donors. To get to gold, you must provide financial information and leadership information. And platinum seal of transparency. This is our highest seal level you can earn. In order to earn a platinum seal, you must share how you measure your progress and results. The information you must share to earn a platinum seal of transparency helps you show the difference your work is making. To earn a platinum seal of transparency, you must also complete bronze, silver, and gold requirements. Next, I'll briefly take you through how you can get started with a seal. Remember, the Candid support team is here to help you if you get stuck. You can use the chat functionality or email us at support@candid.org. How to earn your seal? Well, earning a seal of transparency is easy for any 501c nonprofit. Pretty much all organizations will have what they need to get to a bronze seal. First, you need to access your profile, and I will show you step by step how you get to how to claim your profile. To claim your profile, first go to guidestar.org and sign in or create your account. Now, here's a tip. If you have one, please use your organizational email address to create your profile. This will streamline the process of connecting your personal account with your organization's profile. Next, search for your organization via EIN or org name. And for security reasons, we do want to validate that you have permission to update your nonprofit's profile. By using your work email address, this will be easier. Once approved, you will see your organization in your account area. Simply click edit and you can start earning your seal. Next, update required information. You can get to bronze in as little as 5 minutes. In a few clicks, you'll help your organization stand out from the crowd and be found. The information you will need to provide to earn a bronze seal of transparency includes organization mission and contact details, donation information, leadership information, and grantmaker status. I think you will all agree that this is all very basic information. Therefore, no nonprofits out there should have difficulties getting to bronze. But as a bare minimum, I urge all nonprofit organizations to at least update their donation platform. We want to make sure that you get your donation dollars. So please check your payment billing address is accurate. Next, publish. This simple step trips up a lot of nonprofits. So once you've filled out your information in your profile, please remember to hit the publish button so that this information actually appears in your profile. Once you click publish, it should take no more than 15 minutes to have this information updated on your profile. Now, why do seals matter? Seals are free to earn for any 501c nonprofit. They give donors the information they need to fund you, and it enhances your online identity and build visibility. On top of that, your profile can save you time. We've had feedback from a nonprofit in New York City that has saved them about 40 hours a week. They directed people to their Candid profile to answer questions such as, what are your program descriptions? They also sent funders who are looking for additional context or paperwork. They just directed people to their profile. And this year, Candid launched a new functionality for our seal holders. To make this even easier, each nonprofit can access a unique, shareable full profile link. This unique link will allow your recipients to view your full profile without needing to register on GuideStar. This is available in your benefits section. We suggest all nonprofits grab this unique link to use on any funder-facing collateral, email signatures, websites, etc. You can use it as many times as you want. Why else do seals matter? The information on candidate profiles are shared with over 200 of our partner sites. Here are some well-known examples in the sector. In the social media and tech space, many online sites provide a place for individuals to easily make donations to nonprofits. These platforms are powered by Candid's data, for example, Amazon Smile and Facebook. Donor advised funds. Large financial companies manage donations for private individuals and use Candid profiles to decide where to make gifts for their investors. Giving platforms. Many platforms have facilitated giving like Just Give and Network for Good. They get their backbone of information about eligible nonprofits from Candid. Media and researchers. Many news sites and academic researchers draw their information on nonprofits from Candid's GuideStar. Here's an example of what your profile looks like on Amazon Smile. If you want your organization to be eligible to be on Amazon Smile, you must have a Candid profile on GuideStar first. This year, you want to make sure your profile is up to date by November 14th. This will ensure the most up-to-date information is available in time for Giving Tuesday on Amazon Smile. And here's another example of why it's important to keep your Candid profile up to date. This information is what donors see when they're researching for charities to donate to on Fidelity's charitable platform. Donors see your full Candid profile in their account. In summary, creating a habit to just make sure your profile is up to date is critical to ensure donors aren't looking at stale information. Now, I have a special announcement. It's a new benefit we have for Candid seal holders. We have launched Apple Pay for donations. Seal holders are now eligible for this. If you're a 501c nonprofit, you can enable this donation way to donate for your organization. How do nonprofits become eligible for Apple Pay for donations? Well, any 501c nonprofit, all you have to do is simply earn a bronze seal and maintain it. Once you have earned your seal, simply contact your donation platform to start the enablement process. Once they validate that you are eligible, they'll add an Apple Pay for donation button on your donation page. If they don't have this functionality yet, don't worry. You can email us at support@candid.org with the name of the donation platform, and we can try and help them. To help fast track this process, you are also welcome to share the support@candid.org email with your donation platform, and we'll provide them with the necessary instructions to get set up. This is we're very excited. Candid's very excited to launch this initiative with Apple Pay. It's a great way to help nonprofits capture in-the-moment giving and remove donation friction. You know, your donors can simply click 2 buttons on your phone and they don't have to fill in a form to give you a donation. So we're very excited to launch this initiative. I believe this is all for me. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it back to Kat for any questions.
I'm so excited about this. I typed it in the chat already, but friends, mobile pay is the way of the future. We need to be reducing the friction. We need to be reducing the distance between driving that donor and causing that donor the inspiration to click that button and then the actual transaction going through. And if we're leading them down a lengthy pathway and a lengthy journey before they have to do that, we're losing out, right? Dorothy said with Apple Pay, this is where you've seen this before. You're shopping on Instagram and you want to buy something and you can just double click on your phone and it fills in your address and it pays for that product in 2 clicks and that's it. That's the vision that I personally have for all of us in the nonprofit sector. So big up to Candid for making this happen for all of you. This is amazing. I'm so glad to see it. I'm really excited for you all. So thanks, Dorothy, for your whole team. Tell them all that we said thank you. All right, friends, we've got a little bit of time for some Q&A. Celeste, come on back up here. We're going to go through the Q&A. What are some questions that people are asking? Hey, Victoria, are there any standout questions?
Yeah, I have one here asking for some examples of messaging around hope and hopefulness compared to that COVID messaging that we've been seeing over the last 2 years. Could either of you speak to an example of something you've seen?
Yeah. I mean, like too much that I don't even know where to begin.
I'm like, oh, where do I start? Yes, I can give an example, but it really depends on you as an organization and how you traditionally message, or what kind of work you're doing. But I think that the notion of hopefulness, I know that's a word. You're like, what does that mean? I guess the other word that I should have put in there was human, making this as human as possible. We have a tendency, and I say we because I've done it before, we have a tendency to lead with a statistic or lead with the problem when we can lead with a story. And this goes to the storytelling ideas or thoughts that Kat was sharing. But when I say hopeful messaging, you're focusing in on the solution that your organization is providing versus the exorbitant need that is happening in your community. I'm not saying that it's not there, and I'm not saying that it's not something that you talk about. But what I said earlier on one of my slides was that 77% of people are giving with their heart versus their head. And it is about making this as human and as relatable as possible and putting those stories first. Then comes the bigger stories. But I think the notion is that it's been lots of, we're in dire need, people are in dire need. The pandemic has had all of these effects. That is still there. However, this is how we responded during COVID. This is where we're going now. Lead with people, lead with a very easy call to action, and lead with your solution to a community problem. But just think about what your story is for people when knowing that we got to hit their heart. There's some people who are like, I want to see all the facts. I want to see your, read all your reports and look at all of that information. I'm not saying that's not important. I'm just saying that initial messaging, depending on if your organization, what you did, if you had to shift during COVID for a very particular reason, I'm asking you to think about shifting back or a new messaging.
All right, I've got one that I want to address because we get this 100 times a day. Do I need to be a 501c3 nonprofit in order to participate in Giving Tuesday? No, you absolutely do not. You can be anyone. You can be a volunteer organization. You can be a mutual aid organization. All are welcome. We believe that every single person on this planet is worthy of generosity and capable of expressing generosity, both of those things. So no, you do not have to be a 501c3 nonprofit in order to participate in Giving Tuesday. That said, what you can't do is claim that you are a 501c3 nonprofit if you aren't, and you can't use that language on your donation page about your donation being tax deductible, things like that. But all are welcome to participate in Giving Tuesday. And our data is showing more and more clearly as time goes on that folks are perfectly interested in giving to organizations like mutual aid, grassroots organizations who aren't necessarily have a U.S. tax status. Celeste, I've got one more for you. Are there hubs for Giving Tuesday that we can join?
Hubs.
And they shouted out Long Beach Gives as an example for a hub.
Yes. So on our givingtuesday.org website, there is, I think at the top says find your local movement or something like that, Kat. And it'll get you to a map, and and this is US specific, but if you were looking at another country, click on that dot or that flag. But if you click on the map to the US page, what it does is it brings you a map of and lists all of the community campaigns that are happening in the US that are doing something in their community for Giving Tuesday. And these are the ones that have self-identified and told us, and we have a great leader group of communities, but there's probably other community campaigns we don't know about. But the map lists city, towns, and states that have a campaign and a link to that campaign if you want to join that campaign and know what's happening in your backyard. And then below that, that map is also a list of all these more what we call coalition campaigns that might be for a particular culture, an identity, a cause, or some other variation of a community or a network that is doing something that you might want to join in on as well.
Dorothy, I've got one for you. Does Apple Pay, is it going to work in a similar way of like PayPal's deposit system? This is like a hyper nerdy logistical question, if you happen to know.
I don't know the logistics of the deposit system, but I'll give you an example. Like you can send an email, and then you traditionally, if you want to donate, you have to like fill in a form like name, address, like your credit card details. With Apple Pay to be, and if it's enabled for your organization, your donor simply just has to do 2 clicks, face recognition, and that money will go straight into your donation platform. So that's how Apple Pay will work.
Someone else asked if it had the tap functionality like it does with Google Pay, and I'm answering them right now because I think I know the answer to this one. You don't. I actually don't know if it has the pay. What you want is the double clicking on the lock button though, because you're not in a physical location, or maybe you are, but Giving Tuesday is virtual. You need these people to be on their couch as they normally are and be able to click that button. We don't need anything with the tap.
Like if you're physically at a fundraiser, but if this is really to be able to facilitate in the moment giving, wherever they are.
Is there a processing fee for Apple Pay? Do we know?
You'll have to speak to your donation platform about the ins and outs, because you'll need to work with your donation platform to have this button enabled on your donation page. They will check that that you have earned your bronze seal as a minimum to allow this to be enabled.
And then I've got a similar question. I knew we were going to get this one. Do we know some examples of donation platforms that already have Apple Pay capabilities?
So we have 2 that are QGive and Philanthropy, and then we have some more that are in the pipeline as well.
Classy does it. I am nearly certain that Neon does it. It's becoming more and more popular as we go. Give Lively, I'm pretty sure, has it as well.
And if you have any more information about Apple Pay, please email support@candid.org. And then we have help articles, which we will send out as part of the follow-up emails that you can look up more information.
Do I know if Facebook will allow profile photo frames for this year for Giving Tuesday? They will not. Photo profile frames are extinct. Do you remember this? You used to be able to make and upload your own profile photo. You used to be able to ask your supporters to temporarily change their profile banner for the day. It's extinct, doesn't exist anymore. What you should do instead of that, and what is more effective anyway, is to ask your supporters to post an actual testimonial of why it is that your cause matters. That's going to be more effective anyway than just a flyer for your organization or an advertisement for your organization. You want to ask your folks to film a selfie video, or go old school with the old. Do you remember the original version of Unselfie? We asked folks to just write down on a piece of paper and hold it up and take a photo of themselves with what cause it was that matters to them. You're going to want to take that approach in place of the old Facebook profile frame here. You all are mind blown about calendar invitations. I love to see it. Add event. I'll type it in the chat too. addevent.com is what I use to make my calendar invitations function. It is a website. It's not a calendar app. It's just a website. You will go in and set up your calendar invitation, and then it's going to give you a link, and you will share that link with your donors, and you will tell them, click on this to add our Giving Tuesday campaign to your calendar. And when they click that, they're going to be able to add it to their Outlook calendar or their Google calendar or their phone or whatever calendar it is that they use. That's also going to allow you to do push notifications to all the people who add their calendar invitation to your calendar. Add event is not a Facebook event option. It is not. It is addevent.com. It's a separate website that you're going to use to put Giving Tuesday on your supporters' calendars. All right, friends. I'm glad you all learned a lot. We're glad to be with you. We thank you for your time here with us today. We thank you for everything that you do to make our world a better place, right? And sending you love and hugs from here in Chicago. Celeste's in the DC area. Dorothy, where are you?
New York.
So we're sending you love from all corners of the US today.
Keep
us posted on your Giving Tuesday plans, everybody. Email us at info@givingtuesday.org and let us know what it is that you're planning and help us create the world that we all seek to live in.